Good evening, everyone. This is Bob Gubb bringing you the Concerned Forum. And this is kind of an impromptu video that I'm doing. I was doing my housekeeping and I heard a few things. And I said, I am so pissed off about what I heard that, I was here just basically cleaning up. Uh, the wife was out getting her hair done and I had a chance to chill out, do a little mopping up, and I heard some bullshit that really antagonized me. So I just wanted to share my opinion about, the stuff that I heard. Listen, I would hope that you folks out there would do me a solid and subscribe to this show. And I would also hope that you would be kind enough to give me your opinions and how you feel about what I have to say. So let's dance. One of the things that really ticked me off about this whole immigrant racism thing, I think that, and I blame our educational system in this country because unfortunately we have not really taught history in this country. Now, don't get it twisted. There are some people, I think that, what is it, like that 28 or 30% of people that will support Trump no matter what he does. I mean, this guy could tear off his clothes and run down 42nd Street and 8th Avenue buck naked. And people, a certain group of people will still support him. But I think for the masses of the American people, uh, we have, truly been taken advantage of because we have not been taught history. See, now this business about immigration. Listen, this is a country of immigrants, either voluntary or forced. Okay, like the way my people were. Okay. But it doesn't make a difference, see, because we're all immigrants. The only people who are not immigrants, and I understand that thousands and thousands of years ago, indigenous people came across the Bering Strait and, filled up North America, South America, what have you. Okay. They were here first. Okay. That's the bottom line. So everyone else is an immigrant, right? Uh, Donald Trump himself is the child and grandchild of immigrants, right? How many wives does this guy have? I'm not talking about side women or what what have you, but just wives, right? I think like two out of three of his wives were immigrants. See, you could even say that his son was, is an aggravator. That's what the right likes to call people like that. But I guess that's okay because he's Caucasian. And see, that's a really, that really rocks my crib, to be honest about it. Because this guy, the son and grandson of immigrants, wants to take a blowtorch to everything that America stands for. And I have a big problem with that. Now, me myself, I'm born and raised in New York. My father came from the American Virgin Islands. His father was Dominican. His mother was a Haitian lady. And on the other side of the family, my mom was from Virginia, the good old capital of the Confederacy. We had folks that built Jefferson's Monticello, okay, and we had a couple of people that got wound up getting lynched. All right, so I don't have to make excuses for my citizenship credentials to anyone. But I think the big problem that we have in America is that not enough people, know their history. They don't know where they come from, and they basically are led around by the nose because of the fact that they lack education. And if you think that I'm trying to do a subtle or not so subtle put down of the educational and intellectual capabilities of most MAGA folks, you're right. I am. Because when you don't know who you are or where you came from, people can take advantage of you. And that's all Donald Trump has done since 2015. Listen, you got to remember something. The glory of America, to me anyway, is the fact that a bunch of scumbums from Western Europe came over here and they managed in a couple of hundred years to turn a bunch of settlements into a world power. Okay? Now, that's what happened. I don't know what the hell a lot of you people were taught in school, but that's the real deal. So I would think that people like that would have a little more empathy towards people coming from, Caribbean, Latin America, Mexico, so on and so forth. But of course, there goes that racial thing again. See, I think the thing that is so detrimental and so horrendous about racism is that it clouds judgment. Okay, it blocks empathy and it clouds judgment. And that's the situation that we have here. Now, of course, I know, oh, well, I didn't, I was afraid for what Kamala Harris would do in terms of the economy. Hmm. Okay. So you supported Trump because you felt that you had economic reasons to do so. Um, okay. I'll go with that for a little while. But I think that the problem is that because of the ingrained racism that we have in America, you felt that a convicted criminal, um, a proven, let me put it to you like this. When I say proven, okay, pedophile, okay, at the very least, this guy um, runs cover for pedophiles, right? This guy who basically, he does everything when he's in the company of, like, say, Putin. He does he basically does everything except roll on the floor and kiss the guy's feet. See? And that's what you chose, you people out there that supported Trump and voted for him. See? And there's just something so dangerous and so insidious about American racism. It truly is. Because look what you have now. You have all these people that voted for Trump, and what are they doing? They're freaking starving, right? They're losing their farms, they're losing their homes, they're losing their jobs, they're losing their health care. And I'm sorry, the only thing to me now, I could be an asshole. I guess in many respects I probably am. But it looks to me like You basically took your future and your children's future and your neighbor's future and your friends' futures. You basically, you jumped on that hobby horse of American racism. I see these people that call themselves, what is it, American Christian nationalists or whatever. Well, mm, right. That's like the church that, what's his face, the Secretary of Defense. And no, my man, I'm not going to call you Secretary of War. Congress called it the Department of Defense. Okay, if you want to change that, then you need to go to Congress. But people like him and Trump, with this whole idea of white Christian nationalism, and by the way, that is white Protestant Christian nationalism. I want to talk to my folks in rural America. Let me tell you something. Does that ideology put meat on the table? Yes or no? Real simple question. Yes or no? Does that bullshit that Trump and Pete Hegseth espouse, is that going to feed your kids tonight? Real simple, right? Is that going to keep Mima off the streets or off your couch and keep her in the nursing home? You tell me. I don't know. Now we have these thugs called ICE dragging people off the streets, many of whom are veterans, American citizens. And they're doing all this. This was a massive deportation. Now I'm here on the internet. I'm here on YouTube. Somebody tell me, has anyone seen an increase in their pay envelope because of massive deportation? I want somebody to tell me that. Seriously. I mean, look, I'm an American. Okay? I've done 25, 26 years. Army, Navy, Reserve, National Guard, Reserve. So I believe in the ideals of this country. So yeah, we have to make sacrifices, so be it. But I want somebody to tell me that all these folks that you have dragged off the streets, have they increased your freaking pay envelope by a freaking dime? That's what I want to, that's what I want to know. Okay? Real simple. And I'll tell you something else that disturbs me about this bullshit. Now, we want to talk about the Epstein deal, right? I agree with the, what do you call it, the whole populist mentality thing about, oh, well, these big bad elites, right? Yeah, there is some, there's a lot of truth to that, right? Let me ask you this. How many of those elites have kids that are on those transport ships off the coast of Venezuela? Seriously. And who were the young girls that were, as far as I'm concerned, essentially raped by Jeffrey Epstein and his friends? Okay? They were part of the working class. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you folks out there, you working class folks, just like myself, you decided, because Trump played to the inherent racism that we have here in America. That's something that we need to cure. But what Trump did, he basically he hit your G spot, okay? And you fell for it, quite frankly. And see, he is part of the same group of people that really don't give a good goddamn about you. Seriously. You don't see his son on some damn transport. I remember in the 70s when I first went in the military when I was 17 years of age. Donald Trump wasn't there. 5 times this son of a bitch dodged the draft. Okay? And then he had the nerve and the audacity to say, oh, well, we don't want these guys living in the suburbs. And see, this is why I say what we have now in the American administration, we have a fucking comedy. And I'm sorry I let the F word slip out. But I'm trying to be real here. I'm a black man. I'm from the working class. I come from a black Republican family. And I will tell you something. Donald Trump has as little respect for me as he has for you white working class suckers. Okay? It's just that simple. And the Republican Party, instead of looking out for you working class schmucks, what they did, they said, well, we'll feed them culture wars. We'll get them so upset about who's using whose bathroom and all this other bullshit. When it's funny, I think trans people make up about 1% of the American population. But yet they get you people that constantly, and when I say you people, I'm talking about you white working class folks on the farms, on the factories that they have been laying you off by the thousands, right? But they feed you this, I don't know, culture war bullshit. And, I think this is one of the saddest things about today's America. And I would say to my working class white brothers and sisters, yo, you got to get over this bullshit. Seriously. We will not have a whole country as long as you people get this whole hang up about race and gender. You're gonna have to put that bullshit away. Also, bear in mind you are less than 4% of the total planet's population. How do you think how do you think you're gonna flow with those kind of with those kind of numbers? I don't see it. I really don't. You know who did see it? A guy named Eisenhower. Remember Eisenhower? Commander of the Allies in the Western Front in World War II? Yeah, he became president. He saw that. In his second term, he saw that. I know because when I got my top secret clearance at DIA, I spoke to people, I communicated with people that were there. Okay? And what you have done, I'm talking to you white working class Americans, what you have done, you have allowed Trump and the Republican Party to drag you down to the seventh level of hell. And it's time to stop. Okay? Like it or not, and I mean, there's some things I have problems with, but it's a new world, man. Seriously. And you need to think about yourselves, and you need to think about your children, and you need to think about your friends and neighbors. Now, it's my understanding that Trump and his minions basically they want to destroy or kill or whatever whatever euphemism that you want to use. Okay, these people they don't believe that people who are non-white should have any part of the American saga. So let me ask you something. My white working class brothers and sisters, do you think that America will be a better place if you subjugated and or got rid of all the black and brown people in the country? I ain't giving you an answer. I put that out there for you to think about. It's that simple. Why in the hell would this president, who he wants to stop immigration from like what, over 2/3 of the world's population, but he welcomes Afrikaners? What's that all about? Hmm? And you notice there's not a whole bunch of Afrikaners that are jumping on the bait. It's I think it's time for people to grow up in the United States. I think it's time for people to learn the real history of this country and who we are and how we came to be. It's just that simple. You gotta ask yourself, why does the Trump national security strategy call for kissing the feet of dictators and turning our back on democratic allies? Why do you think that is? For real. I think that the danger that Trump and his drunken friend in the Department of Defense, I think that what they want to do, they want to basically try to keep the ignorant ignorant. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being ignorant, okay? If somebody told me, listen, we want you to, get over to, I don't know, St. Luke's Hospital. There's a brain surgery going down. What would I do? I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant in brain surgery. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant. The crime is when you want to stay ignorant. The crime is when you allow people to keep you ignorant. And that's all that Trump and this Republican gang, I won't say all of them, but I would say most of them, that's all they want to do. Okay? And going back to this Epstein thing, I'm trying to figure out what in the hell Donald is trying to hide. And who is he trying to hide it from? See? And, this guy had ties with Mossad, the CIA. Come on, man. I mean, I don't like when we have an administration in the White House that thinks I think we're all stupid. Okay? I spent half my neighborhood career with the Defense Intelligence Agency. Okay, I have a couple. Well, I don't. I guess they haven't changed it. Maybe they have. I had a cosmic top secret clearance. Okay, my records are an open book, and I resent this administration that basically speaks to me like I'm stupid. Because that's how they treat that. That's how they speak to MAGA people. like they're stupid. And you MAGA folks out there that think that us leftists, us progressive, us woke folks look down upon you, well, guess what? To a large extent, I'm speaking for myself, yeah, we do. And the reason why is because when you come across people that insist upon staying ignorant, what the hell can you do? And that's the problem, okay? Like all them farmers out there that suddenly realize, oh shit, I'm gonna lose my farm because of Trump. Yeah, well, hey, man, this is what you voted for. And you worried about who's going to pick up your crops and what have you. But you voted for a guy that said that we're going to get rid of all the people that made you money. And now you're upset. That's a bit much. Now we got an administration that feels it's okay to go to Latin America and the Caribbean and just kill people. Look, I'm from New York, okay? Every time you have like a super huge bust, and heroin, cocaine, what have you, this is what happens. The mayor, the police commissioner, and you always have some dick from the DEA, okay? And they'll get a big freaking table, and they'll put all the dope on the table. They'll put all the weapons that they found, right, on the table. They'll put all the money out there on the freaking table. And then what they'll do, they'll have a big press conference, and they'll say, oh, well, yeah, we had a raid and we came across a huge stash, right? Like, 500 pounds of cocaine and heroin and weapons and money. And the mayor will get up there and he'll do his little dance and say, hey, we found this, right? And then the police commissioner, he'll come up there and he'll shuffle up and he'll do his little thing. And then, oh, well, we could not have done this without the help of the DEA and the FBI. And they'll come up, right? And they'll, hey, well, listen, we worked in tandem with the NYPD and all this other good shit, right? And you have it there. You actually, you see the dope, you see the money, you see the guns, right? How come this whole thing with Venezuela, right? How come that's not happening? Now, I spent time on two aircraft carriers and a fighter squadron, okay? I have seen what happens when we find boats, floating around off the coast of South America or, in the Caribbean. And what do? We stop the boats, right? To the boarding party over. And if we find contraband, we take the contraband and, we're going to hold the folks for arrest or what have you. See? Now, apparently, between Trump and the Secretary of Defense, that whole thing has changed now, right? Now we just blow people out of the water. Now, here goes the thing that really disturbs me. If it's okay to just blow up people off the coast of Venezuela, then what is it? What's that Latin phrase? I'm sorry, I just got a little altar boy in Latin, so forgive me. Right? But what is that? Reductio ad absurdum. Okay? Which I think means that if you're going to do some dumb shit, then you have to see it all the way through. So reductio ad absurdum says, okay, um, since we're going to kill people at sea with no proof, no evidence. Remember, we haven't seen a brick of coke, any fentanyl, right? Any money, any weapons. We're just going to kill people, right? So if you're going to do reductio ad absurdum, that means that if I see some kid out there in New York or Chi-Town or New Orleans or Atlanta, and I believe that he's throwing drugs. He might be throwing fentanyl, he might be throwing coke, whatever, right? Then according to that logic, then we should just kill the kid. Real simple, right? That's what reductio ad absurdum means, right? We're just going to kill them. If you can blow up people off the coast of Venezuela, then surely you can slay them on the streets of New York or DC or Atlanta or Chi-Town or LA, right? Now, I mean, I disagree with that. I don't think that America is about that. But if you support this guy Trump and his drunken flunky Pete Hegseth, then I guess that's okay. You know, and then Donald says, oh, well, they are a terrorist organization. Oh, really? Who says so? Hmm? Are we just going to take your word for it? Okay. Well, let's take your word for it. That they're a bunch of rotten, no good terrorists. All right? Could you, at least because you have America's sons and daughters, fathers, brothers on them troop ships off the coast of Venezuela? Now, I know how that feels. Okay, I got 26 years and three different branches. Okay, I know how they feel. I know what they're sweating through. Okay, they're worrying about having to put boots on the ground in South America, and they're worried about the reception that they're going to get. And well, they should be. Because if you came to my house, you came to my neighborhood, right, trying to throw your weight around, well, let's just say that I don't think that that would be a good idea, quite frankly. So, Mr. Trump, I'm just curious, what the hell is it that you're trying to do? Because then you turn around and you had the former president of Honduras there, and this guy, he made a statement that I am going to work to make sure that I'm going to shove coke up the nose of every gringo. And you gave this guy a freaking pardon. So forgive me for asking, what the hell are you doing? You want to drag this country to war because you claim that Venezuela is, somehow shipping fentanyl, right? When we all know fentanyl comes through Mexico, right? From China, through Mexico, so on and so forth. And you want to take on the whole nation of Venezuela. Now, I get it. You don't like Maduro, okay? I'm not crazy about Maduro either. I don't like dictators. Latin America, the United States, Europe, anywhere, Africa. I don't cotton to dictators. Okay, that's the American in me. But if you want to go to war and you want to risk American lives, don't you think out of common decency, especially from a man that when it was his turn to serve his country, who ran away 5 times on some bullshit, what was that? Foot thing. Okay? Hey man, you could have joined the Coast Guard, right? Seriously. A lot of guys who did not cotton to the idea of walking through the jungle and being dirty, they joined the Navy, they joined the Coast Guard. Doesn't make them any less brave. I can assure you, I've done both, Army and Navy. I can assure you, okay, that your chances of getting your butt blown to kingdom come are almost as good being in the Navy or the Coast Guard as it is being a ground pounder in the Army or the Marine Corps. Okay? Seriously. I saw my buddies, my shipmates burning on a flight deck. Okay? And I never got over that. So it's not a question of trying to match bravery, okay, by the service that you're in. But the thing is, Donald, that you don't have a right to join in the conversation because you ran like a March hare 5 times, thanks to your daddy, when your turn was called up. So I would think that someone with your background would have the common decency to explain to the American people why you keep jerking around off the coast of Venezuela. Listen, I learned, and I'm getting older now, okay? I'm past 65, so I picked up one or two things. I mean, I ain't that bright, but some things I did pick up, I did manage to pick up. And one of the things that I managed to pick up was that sometimes, life ain't what you want, you know. Now, you and I Donald, are in agreement. I don't think that Maduro is a good person to be the leader of Venezuela. I really don't. But then again, I don't think, Donald, that you are a good leader to be the head of the United States. See? So, what are we going to do? Mhm. Now we have played this game as Americans. We have played this game since the early 20th century of trying to what's the term? Regime change. Okay, San Domingo, Haiti, Venezuela, uh, countries in Central America, right? Up and down, and the time for that is done. It's the 21st century. Okay? Are you willing to risk American lives to help your decimated politics? Cover up the Epstein files? To cover up the fact that you have raped and ripped our economy in America to shreds? Is that worth American lives? I know. I don't think so. I tell you something. I've been in Africa, over here in Uganda, since June. And I am so ashamed, okay? I am so ashamed of what you have done, Donald, to the American brand. Now, I mean, I've been following you since I was about 14, 15 years old. Okay? You and your dad. And you people know a lot about brands. And I'm going to tell you what you have done to the American brand. It's a sin. It's an infamia, right? We had was the USAID. You took millions of dollars of drugs that could help people here in Africa. And you just said, hey, screw them. Pardon my French. You said, fuck them. You have created the situation between you and Elon Musk, where you have thousands of people here on the African continent dying. Now, I'm going to tell you, the one good thing, the one silver lining in that cloud is that African nations, they are, they're learning that they have to depend upon each other. Okay? Now, what does that mean in terms of getting help from Russia and China? You know, I mean, history will talk about that. Seriously. Because oddly enough, the biggest stick that America had was its soft power. All right. And Donald, what you have done, you have given license to the idiots in America. It's like those people were they hell they're out in Arkansas somewhere with their all white towns and all this kind of crap. Yeah. Well, guess what? Everything that you need to run a sophisticated 21st century society, all that shit is in China, it's in Africa, it's in the Middle East. So, what is it that you want to do? Do you just want to close off America? I couldn't, I did not like Ronald Reagan, but I give him credit, okay? He never wanted America to be like a walled city, essentially. He didn't want America to turn its back on the rest of the world because we're part of that world. And I will say, in Ronnie Reagan's defense, I think he was a much smarter man by the end of his second term. Seriously. Because I think that he kind of got the feel for, hey, man, this whole thing is international. And Donald, all you have done is you have preached to white working class Americans, oh, well, Europe, Western Europe, our allies are our enemies. We need to get insular. Meanwhile, you and your son-in-law been running through these countries basically making money. Okay? I'm not gonna jump up and down angrily because you made money. See, I'm not approved, and I'm a New Yorker. Okay, I understand the guilt. But see, a good politician makes sure that he leaves something on the table for his people. And Donald, you haven't done that. All you have done is cause problems. And now, because you're old and sick, see, ain't nothing wrong getting old, because we all got to get old, okay? But we don't have to get old, if you understand what I'm saying. What are you going to, you're already telling us that, well, I don't think I'm going to go to heaven when I die. You probably won't. I mean, believe me, I'm not trying to getting any trouble with the Creator. Okay, that is His will. I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in the Creator, and I do believe in justice. Okay, So whatever happens to us after we leave here, I don't think that you're going to a good place. And from what you have said, Donald, I don't think you believe that you're going to a good place. But the scary thing about you, Donald, is that you seem determined to drag the whole country down to the seventh level of hell with you. And see, that's what disturbs me. Seriously. I'm 71. Okay. I have no idea when it's time for me to cash my chips in. But you know something? I'd rather be facing the big person up there. I'd rather do that. I'd rather that be me than be in your shoes. Because what are you going to say? When the man or the woman asks you, well, you've been around here for 80, 81 years. What did you do? I mean, what are you going to say? Oh, well, I divided my country. I made people want to kill each other, right? Really? No wonder you think you're going to hell, quite frankly. Um, and see, this is a problem that the folks out there that still support Trump, this is what they need to understand. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. This man don't give a good goddamn about you. He really doesn't. He is part of that. You voted for this guy, you supported this guy because, well, he's against the elites. Then you get mad at people like me. Oh, you black New York bastard, how dare you look down upon me? Hey, listen, I question the intelligence of anyone that consistently supports and votes against their own basic self interest because of some culture war bullshit. Okay? Listen, I'm not like the rest of these, I'm not like many of the people that come on YouTube. Okay? Yeah, I'm kind of educated, but I don't talk in that clip, concise, like too many of our politicians do. That kind of lingo. I just, I call it like I see it. Because quite frankly, I don't think that we have time to waste. Because American democracy is rapidly circling the toilet bowl and heading down. So I believe in I agree with what General George Patton. Sometimes you gotta, a little profanity laced in there. Sometimes you gotta give it to people straight up and make it stick so that they remember it. And just like the Somalis, right? They're not bad people. They're good people. But unfortunately, somebody pumped a lot of nonsense into their head about, oh, well, you can't dance with black Americans because they're thieves, they're this, they're that. And the leaders in the Somali community fell for that garbage. Seriously. And they work with Trump. I see the guy on YouTube all the time with the hat and, the banner. Yeah, Somali is for Trump. You supported him just like a lot of Latinos, especially in Florida, did. Right? And what happened? This man says, okay, I'm elected. Guess what? You're trash. You're garbage. That congresswoman, okay, that represents a lot of you all, she's trash too. We're trying to get her thrown out of the country. And see, again, that's where we come into this racial dynamic. See, I think that this whole thing in America, it's about race. Now, I mean, people can tell you, oh, yeah, well, it was the economy. We trusted Trump. Wait a minute, how you can do that? Inflation was 3% under Joe Biden in November of 2024. Now, what the hell is it? Like 4.5%, 5%, right? Employment has gone up under Trump. So how can you say, well, I like Trump because of what he did for the economy? Really? The economy. When he came in 2017, that was Obama's economy. Those good days that you was thinking about, that was because of Barack Obama. It was because of Donald Trump. Remember, this was the guy that said that COVID was a Democratic hoax. A hoax, yeah. And almost what, about 1 million Americans died because he believed, no, he told me that bullshit about don't get vaccinated, it's all a Democratic hoax and all. I mean, come on. There is a certain point where you have to start listening to your brain, people, and not your freaking emotions. I guess the basic, what I'm trying to say is that we're coming up to a point this year in the, bipartisan, the elections for 2026, midterms, and then again in 2028, right? And I can't emphasize this enough. Either we are going to work to basically get a decent quality of life for everyone in this country, black, white, brown, yellow, red, or we're going to, we're going to slaughter each other, quite frankly. Yeah, and it's happened before, okay? Read your history book. It's happened before. Myself, I would much rather come back in 2028 to a country where people, we might not agree, but we're trying to work it out. We're trying to work together. Okay? I don't want to come back to a country where people are slaughtering each other. Now, unfortunately, you have about, 25, 30% of Trump followers. They will gladly throw a pipe bomb or shoot someone that doesn't disagree with them. Excuse me, so shoot someone that, doesn't agree with them, or shoot someone that doesn't look like them. I don't want to see. Look, I live in Uganda, but I plan on, things work out. I plan on going back home and fight for the ideals that America's supposed to be about. I won't just, turn my back, live under nice palm trees with beautiful women. You know, um, it sounds nice. I'm doing it now, but I can't turn my back on America because too many people have shed blood to prove the fact that all people are equal. So, whatever small part I can play um, to bring about quality of life for all Americans, I want to do that. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to do my little videos here, and that's that. Listen, it's getting late. I appreciate you bringing me into your homes. All I can say is keep reading, keep talking with each other, take care of each other, and we will be back. And this is the Concerned Forum, Bob Gums, and peace.